a prison of the spirit. Throughout history, humanity has sought connection with the divine, yearning for meaning, purpose, and spiritual truth. This search has often led us to organized religions, institutions claiming to hold the keys to salvation and wisdom. Yet, for all their promises, these institutions have frequently become the greatest prisons of the human spirit, subtly binding minds and souls in chains of fear, routine, and unquestioned obedience. The power of these prisons lies not in visible walls but in the invisible forces of tradition, guilt, and control, often masquerading as faith. My own journey within and beyond these walls has revealed a profound truth. While faith is liberating, the systems of organized religion can be profoundly confining. The subtle conditioning of organized religion. I was born and baptized into the Roman Catholic Church, conditioned from an early age to believe and obey without question. As a child, I felt awe and reverence, sensing what I believed to be God's presence in the rituals and sacred spaces of the Church. Yet, as I grew older, questions began to surface. I saw the teachings of Christ, teachings of love, humility, and compassion, not truly reflected in the lives of priests or congregants. Many seem to live dual lives, devout within the church walls, but far removed from those values outside. This contradiction reminded me of Friedrich Nietzsche's critique of Christianity, where he observed that religious institutions often emphasize conformity and guilt over authenticity and freedom. Nietzsche argued that this slave morality fosters obedience rather than true spiritual growth, chaining believers to routines and rituals rather than liberating their souls. As I matured, I began to see these chains in the lives of those around me, chains so subtle that most were unaware of their imprisonment. A lifelong struggle to understand. In my youth, I wondered if the problem lay with me. Perhaps I was too critical, too idealistic. But as I observed more closely, I realized that the disconnect I saw was not just personal, it was systemic. James Joyce, in his reflection on Catholicism, described a similar tension in a portrait of the artist as a young man, where the protagonist struggles with the suffocating grip of religious conformity. Joyce's portrayal mirrored what I witnessed, people going through the motions of faith, conditioned by traditions that limited their ability to see beyond the institution. At 26, when I felt God's call to ministry, I believed this would bring clarity. But my theological studies revealed deeper truths. Organized religion was not simply a path to God, it had become a system of control. Michel Foucault's analysis of institutions came to mind, where he describes how systems maintain power not through overt force but through subtle mechanisms of discipline and surveillance. The Church's expectations of unquestioning obedience, the financial burdens it places on its followers, and the social pressure to conform all serve as tools of this control. The cost of blind obedience. I saw families giving sacrificially to meet the Church's demands, offerings, fundraising, and tithes, while struggling to survive. Their homes were plagued by financial and emotional strain, yet they continued, unable to break free. Karl Marx's critique of religion as the opium of the people became startlingly clear to me. Marx did not deny the value of spirituality but highlighted how religion can pacify individuals, distracting them from questioning systems of exploitation. As I entered ministry and continued my studies, I saw this dynamic everywhere. Generations of believers had been conditioned to accept these systems, passing down their chains as though they were treasures. Spinoza's words echoed in my heart. Organized religion often distorts true faith, substituting fear and superstition for understanding and freedom. Followers became trapped in routines, unable to see the beauty of a spiritual life unbound by institutional walls. Breaking free from the prison. The greatest tragedy of this imprisonment is its invisibility. For centuries, millions have lived and died within these prisons, never realizing their confinement. Only a fortunate few awaken, as Nietzsche might say, to the will to power, the courage to reclaim their spiritual freedom. But awakening is not easy. It requires confronting deeply ingrained beliefs, facing potential ostracism, and rediscovering faith beyond dogma. Those who awaken discover what Joyce's protagonist ultimately sought: the freedom to live authentically, to pursue spiritual truth without fear. They find that true connection with the divine is not limited to rituals or programs, but is a deeply personal journey, one that transcends the walls of organized religion. They begin to see, as I have, that faith is not found in submission to systems but in a life of love, truth, and liberation. A call to spiritual liberation. Organized religion, for all its claims of offering salvation, has often become the greatest and richest prison on earth. It binds minds, hearts, and souls through invisible chains of tradition, guilt, and unquestioned authority. Yet, the divine calls us not to imprisonment but to freedom. True faith is not confined to buildings, rituals, or programs. It is found in the boundless embrace of love, compassion, and personal connection with God. The question remains: will the majority awaken? Or will the cycles of conformity continue, locking generations in these subtle prisons? For those of us who have seen the truth, our calling is clear: to break free and to help others see the light. Let us seek the courage to question, to awaken, and to live in the freedom that is our spiritual birthright. Only then can we truly answer the divine call to live as liberated souls, shining with love and authenticity in a world desperate for truth.